She won most talkative in high school, and she has been running her mouth ever since. Welcome to the Lisa Fisher Said podcast with your host, Lisa Fisher.
All right, this is my first vegan-turned-carnivore. You're kind of famous now. Was it the Daily Mail that did the article on you? Who did the article that's given you all the attention recently?
It was the Daily Mail UK and the New York Post.
And so tell me your journey. Tell me how old you are, where you're from, all the things, and then what made you switch from this to this?
Right. So I'm 23 years old and I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I grew up eating a standard diet, nothing restrictive, but I had certain issues. And once I saw the vegan propaganda, all the healthy stuff, organic, and you lose weight and you're still healthy. So I was like, okay, let me give that a try. Why not? Growing up, I'm Brazilian background. So we used to eat a lot of meat and rice and
beans and rice and meat. My future daughter-in-law is from Sao Paulo. She's here with me now. So we have chimichurri every night. We have picanha, but beans and rice.
Exactly.
That's
you have your little salads too, the tomatoes and the lettuce. But very good food. However, growing up very kind of big boned, I would say I wasn't fat, but big boned. Also with the veganism, people were losing weight. And due to issues such as bloating that I've always had, the PMS symptoms that I've always had, acne, all that stuff, with hypothyroidism, which I was diagnosed at 9 years old.
Wow.
I figured,
Wait, let's talk about that journey just a minute. Your mother must have had Hashimoto's or hypothyroidism to notice that something wasn't right. That's how my daughters got diagnosed so young. But it's hard to get a diagnosis with anyone under the age of 16 because doctors don't want to impede your growth. How did that happen for you?
And a lot of them don't know. Like women even older, they don't know they have thyroid issues and they have all these symptoms.
No, they know. They know something's wrong. Doctors will go, no, I think you're fine.
Correct. Exactly.
So what was your story with that?
My mom did have, actually, she has Hashimoto's and the hypothyroidism, Hashimoto's. Right. So with me, we would always get checked because she wanted to know to prevent it. And she's always been into the nutrition and wellness stuff. We have a whole sprouts in like our cabinets with supplements before carnivore, of course. Yeah. So a lot of things just led up to these changes in my life to where I am now. But yes, and then I was diagnosed with that at 9 due to the checkups and everything. Oh, they said it's genetic, family history. It's going to be like that forever. And I was going to be put on medication forever. As I mentioned a lot, I would always ask, am I going to come off this medication because I was so young? And the answer would always be, no, this is a forever thing. Right. And when you're young, that's kind of dreading to hear all the time. But I figured maybe I could change something, like there had to be a cure to fixing all the abnormalities that I felt. So that got me into the veganism stuff. I tried it out. It didn't work out for me. And
So how old were you when you delved into veganism?
About 19.
Okay. So
19, 20.
Okay.
And I did, a lot of people want to say, you didn't do it right. You didn't take the supplements, or you didn't do this, you didn't do that. I did everything. I did everything correctly. It was 100% the correct food and the super organic food and the supplements and the, teas or everything. I want to say the cleanses. I also do a lot of cleanses, which is like the parasite cleanses, liver cleanses, because my mom is so into that. So I would always be doing these things. However, I think that is what kept me going, because if I hadn't, I think I would have had more problems. But even doing all these things, I still had all the bloating symptoms, the fatigue, all of these things going on with me. And it just wasn't normal. I would go to the doctor and be like, I don't have energy. I have sinus issues. I have TMJ symptoms. All of these things are happening in my body. And I know this isn't normal because I see people walking around full of energy and I don't have that. And it's like, no, that's normal. That's okay. So going into being vegan, it was all fun and games. And I lost a lot of muscle mass, which we know muscle mass is important to be healthy. I lost all my muscle mass. And it wasn't helping me at all. I started getting anxiety attacks that I never had in my life before. So I just decided one day I was out with friends and they were ordering hamburgers. And I decided, you know what, the usual, the Impossible Burger, the vegan burgers. And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to have real meat today. And I got a milkshake with that too, real milk. Usually it's, almond milk and all of that.
Right.
So I just dived in. I said, you know what, I'm going to stop this and I'm going to try real food. So I did. However, that didn't help me either. So even going back to eating a standard diet, it wasn't just veganism and then carnivore. It wasn't, oh, she's being so extreme just to get attention or something like that. It was never about that. It's really about just finding something that fits me so I can be a functioning human being every single day.
And feel your best. You want to thrive.
Yeah, exactly. So even going back to the standard diet, it didn't help me. If anything, it got worse. I had more breakouts that I also had never experienced in my life. My skin was breaking out so much, more hair loss, and just more bloating. I couldn't even look at food at this point because I would be bloated. And I would always ask my mom, is this normal to have like this little pouch all the time, that we think, oh, it's just a gut. Every woman, like, it's okay to have it. It's not okay to have it. You're just inflamed. And she found a post of a doctor about carnivore and she introduced me to it. At this point in my life, I was thinking, okay, what else do I have to lose? I don't feel okay. I've already tried going vegan. I eat regularly, how people tell me to eat, healthy ways. That's not helping me either. So I might as well give carnivore a try. And that's when everything changed and the bloating has gone away. I wake up not bloated. I eat, I'm not bloated. I'm not fatigued. I actually have energy. My nails are stronger. And finally, I'm actually right now off the thyroid medication because through my labs, everything is great. My doctor even said, when you look at your labs, you don't have hypothyroidism. You don't have hyperthyroidism. They're normal. So it changed my life.
Totally did. So when did you flip the switch? When did you make the switch?
To carnivore?
Yeah.
It was
to full. So you started 19, you became a vegan. You're 23, is 24 now?
23. 23.
So when was it in the last year in 2023 that you did it?
It was. It's been, I think it's going to do, 8 months today. Yeah. 8 months.
Wow. So you're still new on this.
Pretty new.
Okay. So Dave Asprey, the biohacker, the father of biohacking, and many, many others in the health space all tried veganism to no avail. But as Dave Asprey says, veganism works when you're switching from a standard American diet. Anything is better than that because you are kind of cleaning up your diet by getting rid of some things. He said, which everyone needs to adopt that lifestyle. He said, but the longer, especially for a man, because a man on a vegan diet, his testosterone plummets. And so if you're looking at fatherhood for a man, sperm counts will also dissipate or drop. But a man's testosterone isn't just, everyone thinks it's just about sex drive. It's what gives us drive, agency, and ambition. So the ability to get up every day and to do things, you are probably manipulating it, Victoria, by because women need testosterone.
Yes.
In fact, it's almost more important to us than the 3 sex hormones. It's very, very important for us. And we want to continue to produce that. So your testosterone levels were dropping, which probably dropped. You were saying you just didn't feel well. You didn't want to do things. You're bloated, all those things.
Right now on carnivore, I'm big with the whole cholesterol hormone things, especially that people want to lower their cholesterol. I think that's crazy. We need, based on the range that they give us, we need a high cholesterol because we thrive off our cholesterol. They make our hormones. We need it. Not from seed oils, but from,
from,
the saturated
beef.
fats. And,
we need it from the meat we eat. And those of us who do eat a more meat-based diet, my cholesterol's high, and my provider even knows I'm not going to do anything. So what does that mean?
Like,
It means
gonna mention it.
nothing. It means nothing because all my other markers. Now, if I were overweight and smoked and didn't get sunlight every day and didn't ground and didn't exercise, then cholesterol is just one of the things showing you that you're unhealthy at that point. But mine shows that I'm healthy because my sex hormones work well, they communicate well, and I'm trying to make the best vitamin D I can. I wonder what your vitamin D has done, because we know that it's made, we have to have cholesterol to make good vitamin D. You are dark-eyed and dark-haired and dark skin, and the closer your original family, your family of origin is to the equator, you often have a lower vitamin D. Do you know what your vitamin D is?
Yeah, I actually do take vitamin D with K2 and A.
K2, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So it always kind of fluctuates. If I stop taking the supplement, it will go down. Right now, it's actually low. It was high. It was in the 90s, and now it went down to like the 55s.
That's still good. That's still really good. We start worrying when somebody has it under 30. And we don't love 40, but
no, I need to get it higher.
Good.
But it's not the worst thing, but I want to pick it back up.
Did you know that certain ethnic groups, though, do have, it's more difficult for them to get higher vitamin D? So that's pretty impressive. Yours was in the 90s. What do you think that was from? Do you get a lot of sunlight every day?
The supplementation.
And okay, so some of us, some of us with Hashimoto's often have vitiligo, and with vitiligo, sometimes our vitamin D receptors are wonky, so it's harder for me to absorb. So I'm doing really, really high vitamin D right now to repigment my skin, which is another story. This is not medical advice, anybody listening. We're just talking about what we're doing. So that's really good to know that you do absorb the vitamin D well. That's plus.
When I first started carnivore, I took everything off. I said, I'm going in.
You just started over with and just cleaned your plow?
Yes, like no supplements, no nothing, just the meat. I was doing extremely high fat. I was eating a lot of fat, more than meat. And I found that actually is best for me today, higher fat. A lot of people want to do carnivore. They think it's only eating meat, and it's not, because our bodies need fat. Our thyroids need fat. Every cholesterol,
our hair,
hormones,
our skin, everything, yes,
needs the fat. And with the estrogen on carnivore, it actually went up. So it's actually the way my doctor explained it to me was that it was converting well with the fat. It was producing like more estrogen, and my estrogen was always lower actually.
So okay. Did you have PCOS, or you're talking about acne and some other things? Do you think you had polycystic ovarian syndrome, or do you know?
Not to that extent, no.
Because what can happen with a vegan diet, because the carb consumption is so high, and that for somebody who's already in the PCOS camp, which means she is insulin resistant. So the root of PCOS is insulin resistance, but what perpetuates insulin resistance is more carbs. So sometimes these girls with PCOS are in vegan diets, faces covered in acne, not having a cycle, and ovulatory, meaning not ovulating, and also not having a monthly cycle, which a monthly cycle, my original endocrinologist who treated my thyroid disease 25 years ago always said that is one of the biggest barometers for a female. So anyone listening, if your cycle isn't 28 days or thereabouts, and if you don't have a 5-day period with a heavy first day, you need to look into it. So that's just kind of a blanket statement everyone needs to understand. But it is also, we're at a point right now, Victoria, your generation, it's the highest infertility we've ever seen. Carnivores don't have, typically, I'm not making a blanket statement, carnivores typically don't have infertility problems because carnivore helps the body synthesize the hormones, including your sex hormones. And the highest infertility and the lowest testosterone levels of the last, that we've ever known. And that's to diet.
That's why everyone is sick, dying. We have more people in the hospitals. That's what they want. And people don't realize that. I always say they want to talk about how politicians can be bought. Doctors and scientists can also be bought.
Every day.
They're not here, right. They're not here
Every
to
day.
help you like that.
Yep.
And people are just getting sicker and sicker and they don't realize it. They're so used to, even I was so used to living bad that I didn't know what good health was until I found it. Now I look back and I'm like, okay, that was bad health. That wasn't good health. And so people are so used to living badly. They don't know what good health is, that once you say these things, they're like, oh no, this is normal. My headache, this is normal. No. Oh, I'm bloated. This is normal. Or I'm having cramps to the point where I'm dying. Oh, that's normal. No, that's not normal.
Have your cramps changed with the new diet?
Yes. I used to have really, really bad cramps, to the point where my mom, she couldn't even leave me alone once I was in the cycle because my blood pressure would drop. I would take the Midols, I would take the chamomile teas, lemon ginger, all of that. Just time helped. A lot of nausea, a lot of vomiting.
It's awful. It's awful.
I couldn't function as a human when it came to that time of the month. Now I can function as a human. Actually, maybe this is too much information, but just like last week, no cramps at all. No cramps at all. It was amazing. And even the duration, it was like my period would be 7 days long. And it would be more heavy and then light and then heavy
and then heavy
and then
again.
light. Yep. And now it's like 4 or 5 days, as you were saying.
Yeah.
And it starts heavy, then it goes light. It's like, it's perfect. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Wow. So did you go full on Michaela Peterson and do the lion diet when you after you had that hamburger that day and the milkshake, which the milkshake, those are A1 cows that often give us a lot of bloating and cause a lot of GI distress. I mean, if I had ice cream, it would be very, like that. It'd be uncomfortable. So did you go full on Michaela Peterson and do the lion diet?
At that time, no. I started just eating everything. For when I stopped the veganism, I went back to eating everything.
Weren't you starving?
8 months
ago.
What
I mean? Because you were undernourished.
I was.
Even though your weight may have been higher. So it shows that you can be malnourished and still have a high number on the scale, because the scale is really not the best barometer. There are other markers we have to look at. One, how do you feel? Are you bloated? Do you have brain fog? All those things. So you may have weighed more, but I bet you were malnourished.
A lot of people also want to say, oh, I'm vegan. Look at me. I'm thriving. I look great. I was skinny. So if you looked at me, people would be like, oh my gosh, she's the healthiest person I've ever seen. I was nearly dying inside. So it's not about what's outside. It's what are these labs looking like? How are you really feeling? What's going on inside?
And how do you feel? Right.
Yeah.
How do you feel? I was just reading an article today about women who are my age who are saying, well, so I'm 60, but they said by 50, you should be, everyone has aches and pains by 50. And so 60, it's worse. Not when you eat the diet that's best for you. And I'm not, again, bio-individuality. This may not be for everybody. Mine's a meat-based diet. Like I said, I get sunlight every day. I work out, I lift weights, I get red light therapy, all these things. So I'm like, no, I'm 60 and I have no aches and pains. So I want anyone listening to especially know that a girl in her 20s who has aches and pains and doesn't feel well, that is a full-on caution light. I mean, alert.
Exactly.
People should have, I'm glad you fought for yourself and you started looking into it. And so it was just by happenstance, a burger fell in your mouth and a milkshake, and you started realizing, wow, that tasted good. And wow, I missed it. Because isn't meat satisfying?
It is. It is. And it satiates us.
Totally.
When you eat it, you don't crave. In the beginning, yes, you're going to crave because you're trying to break that compulsion of other things. But once you really get into it, all you crave is that meat and that
more
fat.
Meat.
And you don't want anything else because nothing else can satisfy you like the meat can and the fat. But yeah, so I did that. I started going back to eating everything. And then a few months passed, I think maybe a year maybe. And then I got introduced into carnivore. once I did carnivore, I did go 100% in. I jumped in with 2 feet. Luckily for me, I didn't experience the full oxalate dumping symptoms or the carnivore flu. It was a very smooth transition, which I'm thankful for, because my mom tried to do it. She's 52 and she's had celiac, she's had asthma, she's had the Hashimoto's, also with sinus issues. She has one kidney that isn't even functioning at 100%. So she was like, I have to try this too. And she went through it with the oxalate dumping.
Let's talk about that. So we talk about the keto flu. I guess I never had the carnivore flu. I must have had a pretty low carb diet. And I've been an intermittent faster for so long, so it didn't bother me. But tell me some of the symptoms then of that carnivore flu or oxalate dumping.
For me, it was like a few days, not even a week. I did feel more weak, and I think it was a detox process.
Yeah, I believe it.
It wasn't anything major, but I did feel a certain impact where I was like, okay, I really feel like I just got ran over by a truck. My body was just very weak.
It's a pretty big statement.
But it was actually smooth though. It's a big statement, but it was smooth.
Okay.
And then it just like went away. But my mom, and I say it was smooth because I saw my mom and she was having so much pain. Her body was just her stomach got to the point where it was very inflamed, and it was abnormal. It was just really sticking out. It was hard. And she was like, I feel like I'm going to die. But it was the oxalate process that I think was just too much on her kidney that she had that even wasn't functioning 100%. She was having, fevers. She was having fevers on and off because of the oxalate dumping. And she was like, I can't do this. I need to go to the hospital. And because we knew the doctors in the carnivore community, we were like, no. If you go to the hospital right now, they're going to want to do so many things. It's not even worth it. You're going to be fine. And we kind of just controlled it with some teas that she made, herbs, and she would incorporate a little bit of oxalates back into the diet.
And I'm looking, I usually keep my salt. If you keep salt with you, I keep salt everywhere through my house. Sometimes if you're having a bad time or a headache or hunger or anything, she's probably low on electrolytes too.
She was having it all. Though. That's the funny thing. And we do drink the salt in the water.
Good.
The Celtic salt and also Redmond's real salt.
Yeah,
I don't know which one's your favorite.
Well, Redmond does. I just found these. I was traveling out west, and Redmond does. Have you seen the little bitty? It's a 6-pack of little salts that you grab with you, take with you. It's a travel salt. Okay. It's really perfect for the carnivore intermittent faster. I mean, it really is made for us. And so I keep it. I keep one in my purse. I keep one at my desk. I keep one all through the house. And because often we say in the intermittent fasting world, if you're experiencing headache, cramping, a little nausea or hunger when you think I shouldn't be hungry, it's electrolytes. So I put some it's a teeny tiny bottle. I mean, it's the size of your thumb and you can keep it in your purse. I mean, I look like I'm taking hits of something. I'm going, throwing it back. And then magically I feel so much better.
Yeah. She was on taking electrolytes and everything. However, I think again, it was just because she has so many things going on.
She had to really detox. Yeah. She had a lot going on. I can see that. And so did she stick with it?
She did for a few months and then she came off of it. Right now, she's trying to maintain it. She's been more weak into leaning into more carbs, and she's not 100% meat.
And you know what? This is really, I mean, I know the older you get, the more you're going to feel this way. And that is giving people permission to have the diet that they've chosen. Again, there's no judgment to me. Like people come to me and say, oh, I shouldn't be eating that. And I go, I don't know what you should be eating. You only know what you should be eating because you know what's best for your body. And some people do need more carbs than others. And that's great. Isn't it great that we're all different? We all vote different. We all look different. We all have different shoe sizes. I mean, we're just all different. So your mother, and again, I know it may be part of her genetic disposition too. Is she full 100% Brazilian?
She is, but she knows she needs to do the meat because it did help her in the beginning. Like we all know. And the whole thing with, oh, are you type A blood? Are you type B? This is why you should be eating. No, God didn't do that.
I'm type A, and it says I should be a vegan. Okay, then you know. I'm like, no, I do better with meat.
When did you start carnivore or meat-based?
So I started, because of my vitiligo, Joe Rogan did a podcast. I heard a podcast in July of 2021. So about from when we were recording, about 15 months, I can't do math, but something like that, 15 months ago or so.
Yeah.
And my husband and I like to travel, get in a car, and we drive out west. We're in Little Rock, middle of the country, and we drive to Utah and Colorado. And so I got Paul Saladino's book, which was pretty tough. I mean, he was pretty harsh in 2019. He has since then backed down just a little bit. He's not quite as militant in his views. And we listened to that book and we really looked at each other and both said, we should be doing, why aren't we doing this? So, and then Joe Rogan every January, because it's National Carnivore Month, will do, and maybe that's what I heard, an old episode. So I just did it to see what it did for me. And I realized that nightshades probably bother me, which is pretty common. And I love tomatoes, onions, garlic, I think eggplant, those are all nightshades. But by removing them, all of a sudden I noticed, and removing all gluten, wheat, my hip bursitis is gone. The arthritis in my big toe is gone. Just, that's what I'm saying. So sure, could I eat all those things? Sure. But I don't want to feel that way. So I don't. With my Brazilian daughter-in-law, though, because she is from Sao Paulo, she's been in the States now not even a year. And so she misses a lot of fruits because Brazil, a tropical, a country that close to the equator, obviously has so many beautiful fruits that we don't even get in the U.S. So we do have some more fruits in the house. And I do see with her genetic predisposition, she does love meats. Again, I do picanha now all the time, which is, it's harder to find in the U.S. I think it's a sirloin end cap if anyone wants to try to find it. It's as good as a beef. Do you ever have it in the U.S., the picanha?
All the time. So if anyone has a Costco near them.
Yeah. Oh, so Costco has it. Okay.
Yes. It's the top sirloin cap and it comes with two of them.
Okay. So those are the words we're looking for in the U.S. Sirloin cap or top sirloin cap. So that makes a lot of sense. Y'all, it's as good as a beef tenderloin or ribeye in that you slice it. I put mine in a sous vide. I sear it, I slice it, and have stuff with it. So I'm watching kind of her eat, and her genetic makeup is beans and rice. I've got to get a pressure cooker because she does dried beans. They don't do canned beans, obviously, in Brazil. But she does love beans and rice, and she loves meat, and she misses her, fruits from her native country. So, and I do see, like your mother, there may be some things about her that her body does crave it more, but I really feel the best by eliminating that unless I do eat local fruits in season. Have you done that yet?
So yeah, that's the big thing with fruits. We get a bunch of things in from every single place all the time. So it's just like,
So let's talk about what's on those fruits. They have to be sprayed down with so many chemicals. So that's what she's wanting, fruits from Brazil. But I said they will be poisoned and they'll be 3 weeks old by the time you get them in the U.S. They'll have been traveled. They've, shipped. They're here. They're bugs. There's chemicals. And so it's not the fruits that she's going to get from Brazil. So that's why those of us in the carnivore space say, and really anybody in the health space now is saying, eat local fruits and vegetables in season. You'll feel better. Your body will thank you. Your microbiome will thank you.
Yeah, that's correct.
So in Atlanta, Georgia, you're a little bit further south than we are, but you have beautiful peaches in the summer and tomatoes probably in the summer.
I haven't gone out to locals to search for the fresh stuff.
Okay.
But I tried to just
you're not even interested, maybe.
I'm not even interested just because of the fructose. It is sugar. And I feel as if I start incorporating that, it's going to give me cravings for something else. The same thing with the raw milk. I try to play with that a little bit, I thought I was intolerant. Turns out I'm actually not intolerant to milk. For like what, 23 years of my life, I thought I was intolerant, right? And then I drink raw milk and I didn't feel anything. But I did notice that me putting it in coffee, a raw cream,
Yes.
I was more hungry and I was craving more things. So I was like, okay, this is good, but I need to weigh off of it because it's gonna take me off my knee-based.
Okay, so you make the switch and then you dabble and then you make the full on rip the Band-Aid off. And what were the meats you chose then as part of your daily regimen? And picanha, probably because of your native Brazil, was one of them.
Yeah, picanha, ribeye. I started with ribeye because of
Because of the
Dr.
fat.
Phil. Yeah, that too. And actually, the picanha sits right on top of the ribeye.
Okay. So with the
Or
picanha,
it's close to it. I know it's close to it. Yeah.
I could see that. With the picanha, do you cook it with the fat cap on it? And then do you cut the fat cap off, or as a carnivore, are you eating the fat cap?
I eat the fat, all of the
You
fat.
do?
Yes.
Okay.
Don't cut any of it off. They actually sell cap off and cap on. You always want to make sure you're reading and buying cap on because they sell both. And so I do buy the cap on. I keep all of the fat. My dad, actually, he isn't into the carnivore stuff. And he was even saying, I feel depressed looking at you eat because you only eat meat. And he likes to have his tomatoes, his salads, his fruits, and he brings in all of this stuff. And I'm like, you're literally dying. And he's like, no, I'm fine. But then he's like, oh my goodness, my knees hurt. And I'm like, are you really fine?
I know.
But it's all of that stuff. So yes, the meats.
Okay, what's interesting in this conversation is usually it's the daughter's the vegan and the dad who's like, on the Flintstones when they had the raw steak there. Usually it's the dad who wants the meat and the steaks. I'm surprised like anytime I tell this to, like if my husband and I are out to dinner or I'm talking to people in a group, we're talking about a meat-based diet, carnivore diet, the man's always nudging the woman saying, see, I don't have to have those stupid salads and kale. But it's in your case, it's the opposite.
Yeah, he thinks we do need meat. However, he doesn't think we only need to eat meat. He thinks we need to eat everything. We need the rice, we need the beans. He eats rice every day, Brazilians.
See, again, that goes back to our country of origin, that I can see how it's more comfortable for him.
And that's another topic that's interesting because a lot of women, they get discouraged doing carnivore because when you go out and you order a piece of steak, it's not very ladylike. And people are, why aren't you getting a salad? Or, oh my goodness, she's eating chicken wings. It's kind of like, However, I think, and I want to put out there, you know what? It's hot. Like you're eating a piece of steak and you're not eating oxalates trying to be like everyone else.
Yeah.
No, that's the one. She's the one. She knows what she's doing.
Especially your age group, because you really are in an age group where people are going out and getting acai bowls or whatever that's called, which I don't know why my computer just did balloons. But that was fun. Darren, we'll have to look into that. My Riverside just did balloons. But now I saw we have an acai bowl place here in Little Rock, and someone brought me one once. And so I'd eat, I would never eat it on an empty stomach because of the glucose spike, obviously, but I did want to taste it because I want to know what this is all about. It's a total sugar bomb. Have you had one? It has granola in it, which I don't really eat grain, so I kind of pushed it to the side. They kind of get soggy because it was like granola and yogurt, tons of fruit and high fructose fruit. It was raspberries, pineapples, bananas, and y'all, it's like it's definitely a dessert. It is not something you should eat for breakfast, my opinion.
And people are doing that. They put all of this stuff and they're like, oh, look how beautiful. I'm so healthy. And the oats as well in their little bowls with cinnamon on top and the bananas for breakfast. And I'm like,
it's poison.
For breakfast? And then they look at us eating bacon and eggs and we're crazy. And we look at them like, no, you're crazy.
They're crazy. Well, have you been to LA recently?
I haven't.
Because, LA is a city of vegans, and everything has the vegan option, and it's a religion. You know that. It's a political party, and it's a religion. So when you have a different political view from somebody, people, and then if you have a different religion. So in LA, everything is all about, animals and global warming, which you and I could discuss with people easily, that farting cows is about 3% of, I think it's 3% of gas emissions. And that may have changed that number, but it's not much.
It's not, yeah.
It's the vegan substitute. It's your Impossible Burger. That's harming the environment way more than what my little farting cow does. Plus, you'll see videos because, of course, my algorithm, since this is my interest, and I follow Ken Berry and Sean Baker and Paul Saladino, all these thought leaders in the carnivore space. So my algorithm does show me things with that viewpoint, which is great. But they'll show how many insects and things are killed in order to have one vegan option. Like what it does to the environment is really harms it. And no one talks about that.
I also say plants are living things too. Why aren't we caring about the plants? And they're eating plants.
Thank you for being so sensible.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I understand because I feel we all try to do it with our good intentions. Like when I was doing veganism, I wasn't trying to do what's the worst thing for myself. I went into it thinking I was doing the right thing. But one thing I learned, right, one thing I learned is a lot of people are closed-minded and they don't want something different than they already believe in. And it's hard for me to understand that. What I love about the carnivore community, I also mention it a lot, is that people don't take no for an answer, and they're curious, and they go out and look for things. They're open-minded, and if you tell us something, we're gonna go look into it. Even if we don't agree, we're gonna go look into it. But when you look at vegan, it's very just narrow.
Well, it's a religion. That's it.
I was there.
That's the way to say it.
Yeah, a whole little cult. But
it is totally.
My whole views have changed ever since going carnivore, getting out of that, stop being a sheep of the system. Everything has changed. My political views have even changed. Everything has changed because,
I totally
you start
see
seeing the truth, and it's crazy.
Your views on COVID changed.
Mm-hmm.
Your views on health.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, just talk about your vitamin D. We know during COVID, comorbidities with COVID included things like low vitamin D. Did the government ever pass out vitamin D supplements with K2 and D3 and K2? No, they passed out COVID shots. So there is so much you can do for your health without ever asking the government for any help. And that's all I want people to do. I always say, I don't care if you have 19 COVID shots and booster. I really don't care. I don't get a commission either way, whether you do it or you don't. I just want to make sure people have the information and knowledge to go to the next step. Or if you're doing it blindly, if you're doing it as a sheep, just saying, oh, I'm just following the crowd. Don't follow the crowd. And I say that, I mean, my podcast is really devoted now. In the last 6 months, I've done a lot of people do cancer alternative treatments, and they are thriving, Victoria, thriving, and they've never had chemo or radiation. Now, their provider has told them, there's the door, get out of my office, never come back, because it doesn't help their system, their business model. But I just want to say, I haven't had cancer. I don't know. I know, I have a feeling what I would do or what I wouldn't do.
Right.
But I haven't walked that path. So I don't make a judgment. I don't care. I just want to make sure people are informed. And then after the information, if you look at all the things about veganism and then all the things about carnivore, then I want you to look and you decide and whatever works for you. Here's something Sean Baker posted this week. I almost need to find it on my device. It was in an Instagram post that he had yesterday. And he said, so a few weeks ago, Harvard had a study about the carnivore diet and that it reversed type 2 diabetes, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then there was that was a Harvard study. And then there was another Harvard study a few weeks later with an epidemiologist, which is a different specialty. Here it is. Harvard study on carnivore diet showing red meat diet leads to diabetes reversal. Crickets from media. Nobody read it. Harvard epidemiological study showing weak association between red meat and diabetes. Front page of every news media outlet. People need to listen to that and see things are shadow banned. Things don't follow the cricket eating narrative. Is shadow banned. What we're talking about, YouTube just pulled one of my episodes with somebody who talked about alternative cancer therapies because it said, we don't feel like what you're saying is safe for people.
Yeah.
It makes me nutty, but I just want, this was from just in the last few days. So October 19th, 2023, you can look at Dr. Sean Baker, 1967 on Instagram.
And he started incorporating fat, right? He started incorporating butter.
And some carbs because of a neck injury he has. Mm-hmm. So again, that's what we're trying to say. I'm not dyed in the wool in this. It's what's working for me. But if anything stopped working for me, I'm not going to die on that hill for that, is my point. Whatever stops working for me, then I might have to incorporate some carbs someday. Right now, I just feel great. Like it's almost 2:00 here. My husband fried the hamburgers at lunch. And so I'll go eat one because that's truly what my body craves. And y'all, it's the cheapest thing to eat is hamburger meat and eggs. So we eat a lot of hamburger meat, eggs. Sometimes I'll do as much high fat yogurt as I can find. Do you eat any dairy then? If besides the raw milk, do you have anything else? Have you had yogurt?
No yogurt, just butter. But
wait, have you done the burnt butter bombs or they put them in butter bites? Tell me about that. Explain that to me. I saw the recipe today. I'm going to make them today.
They're great. It's like little white chocolates when we don't have it. But in the beginning, that actually saved the cravings. We were doing everything with the different ingredients.
It's so high in fat, the butter.
So the butter bites, and there was like egg white cookies or something like that. We tried everything just to stop the cravings. But butter bites does help a lot. For me, I kind of weaned off of that for now because
you don't want to treat yourself.
Just because it doesn't taste the same to me today as it did in the beginning.
Really? So your palate has really changed.
It has changed. It has. And I don't do seasonings, sometimes very rarely on the meat, just salt because it does take away I love the butter taste, the salt taste, and the just meat taste. That's the best thing. Anything else kind of ruins it for me. In the beginning, I would also eat butter. Just if I was hungry, let me cut a little piece of butter, put it in my mouth, let me eat it. Now I don't do that because I just eat the meat.
Okay.
But I did do that in the beginning. Yeah. Butter bites are fun though. They are fun. My mom loves it, but I tell her to not do it because she's also eating sugar and we don't want to combine the two things together.
That's right. Sugar is the poison, but you're right. Sugar combined with the other things. I mean, and Sean Baker says it, stop blaming meat for what sugar has done or carbs have done. Yeah. So with the butter bite things, you have to have a silicone mold. You cook, do you do salted butter or unsalted butter?
Unsalted. Salted is nasty. Don't do it.
Oh, really?
Because
that's interesting.
It's very salty. It's very salty.
It's too much.
So
and then you whisk it, or you use like a frother to let it melt, and then
you're whisk it in the pan until it turns caramelized. Once it starts turning caramelized, you know it's ready. You pour it into a glass container and then just put it in the mold. Let it freeze for maybe 20, 30 minutes and it's ready. Yeah.
I'm totally going to do that today just for a little treat because that sounds really good. And I've seen Steak and Butter Gal, Bella. I've seen her, y'all, she really takes a stick of butter that she keeps on the counter and or maybe in the refrigerator, and she actually bites off some, goes about her day.
Uh-huh.
Isn't that amazing?
Exactly that.
Okay. Now tell me now when we talk about, I'm looking at the time here because I don't want to go over, but I mean, we've got to talk about these things. Regular cycle now, no thyroid medicine, no supplementation besides the vitamin D. Do you do magnesium or anything?
So, and when I first started, I took everything off. Now I decided to incorporate things back because I'm not 100% healed. Like I was saying, it's 8 months now.
Okay.
23 years of eating badly. I'm not going to heal overnight.
You're right.
People going to carnivore thinking they're going to find a miracle over the next day. It's not like that. It's a whole journey. It's a process. So I decided to incorporate the supplements back in because I know that I still need them as I'm healing my body. Right now, I am still taking the vitamin D with the A and the K. I'm taking iodine, magnesium.
Magnesium's magical.
Yeah, magnesium's good. It is. And even I noticed also my cortisol levels still may be a bit off. Eating fat definitely improved my insomnia because I couldn't sleep at night. And eating fat did improve it. But because, again, I'm not 100% healed, while it has improved, I do think I needed, you got to tweak some things here and there.
That's
cortisol levels as well. So I've started taking some cortisol supplements. Good. It has helped me a lot as well. I feel like more energized in the morning. And eating the meat, I feel like, I'm just finding my way through it. But definitely taking supplements.
Yeah, and reincorporating. And again, it's the season too.
The TMJ symptoms that I had, I always thought it was because of braces that I had like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But it actually, I think it was just all the inflammation, the oxalates, the sugar. And once I went carnivore, the pain went away. No more popping, no more pain. And what I notice is if I go and eat something like bread or fruit, or I try, let me have a cucumber, I start getting jaw pain again. It's like a Tylenol. If I eat it, it knows right where to go. And I'm like, this is so weird.
That's amazing.
So I try to stay off of it because I know the effects that's going to happen to my body. And a lot of people question, would you ever do this or that? To some point, I also think, like you said, maybe I will go back to, eating something low carb, low oxalate. But as for right now, I don't see why I should be doing that because if I do go off carnivore, I feel the pain in my body.
That's amazing.
It's just like that.
Yeah, we call that a self-correcting error. You just don't even want to do it. Now, when you did vegan, were you low fat? You'd have to be because there's no fat. It's all carbs.
Grains.
Grains, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So that, I tell you, it's all that chewing all those grains. Steak is easier to chew than all the granola and the breads and the rice and the things whatever you would be eating.
Not to mention, you get a free facelift because you're just munching on the meat. So your jaw's getting stronger. My face, I feel as it has changed.
That's
funny. It was more inflamed and now it's more like,
that's funny.
Getting a little.
Now, what about hair loss is a big thing that people will see a change or in their hair growth patterns. What have you seen?
Honestly, due to the hypothyroidism, I've always dealt with hair loss. So to me, on carnivore, it didn't get worse.
Okay.
But I do have on it, I think the hair loss, it's normal a little bit here and there to my experiences. I do want one day to not have any hair falling out.
Yeah, same.
But it's just, no, I haven't had any hair loss experience with carnivore itself. If anything, like I have nothing bad to say about carnivore because everything only got better. Nothing got worse. Even if it didn't improve 100%, nothing got worse.
Now, do you eat in a time-restricted manner and all, or do you eat breakfast, lunch, dinner several times a day? What's your schedule?
I don't count calories. If I'm hungry, I eat. If I'm not, I don't. If it's really about listening to your body, if I want more fat, then I'm going to eat more fat. I love pork belly. A lot of people don't like it, but I love pork belly.
Yeah, I do like pork belly. Yeah. Now, do you eat chicken at all? Because, chickens don't have the diets that we really want. So have you ever, it's not as good. Once you have steak, you don't have to get the chicken breast at the restaurant anymore.
A lot of people want to talk about, you need a chicken breast for the protein. I'm like, no, just go eat a steak. Just go eat a ribeye. You don't need a chicken. But because it has no nutrients, there's no point. So no, I don't eat any chicken breast. However, I do enjoy some chicken wings made in butter, a lot of butter. It's so good, crispy.
Yeah.
I think every once in a while, you eating that is okay.
Yeah. Do you have an air fryer?
Yes.
Girl, my son brought one because he's staying with us. We have chicken wings now all the time. That thing is magical.
It is.
Where has it been all my life? I thought it was another gimmick. It is not a gimmick. And someone told me the best steak they'd ever had was cooked in an air fryer.
It's amazing. It is. I've never used the air fryer so much as now on carnivore.
Now, so it's a Friday, what do you drink alcohol at all?
No alcohol due to the fact that I cannot put that sugary drink into my body. I just keep thinking I couldn't do that to my liver. It's funny because even with liver cleanses, my liver hasn't been as clean as it is now. And you can see this in the labs, which the AG ratio or the bilirubins and the AST
and ALT,
yes,
maybe is the other one.
Yes. And all of that, it used to be high. Now it's low, which means, okay, your liver isn't overworking itself.
Yeah.
It's clean.
Unbelievable. Yeah. So tonight, I mean, I guess do you eat eggs at all?
Yes. Every morning, I usually do 2 meals a day. If I'm more hungry, then I'll have 3, but smaller portions. But most of the time it's 2 meals a day. For breakfast, every single day, it's breakfast, either grass-fed patty, hamburger patty, or bacon.
I was going to ask you. Okay, I love bacon's also good in an air fryer, y'all.
I haven't tried it, so I have to try it.
So, well, it doesn't have the mess all through your kitchen, and I don't like it microwaved. I don't like that texture.
No. Yeah, no.
So, I was doing it on my black iron skillet with the shield on it, but it doesn't make a mess. It's in that little thing. Pop it out. Everybody's happy.
I usually bake it.
Bacon.
Yeah.
Oh, you do? Yeah. I did that with pancetta or prosciutto recently that I got at Costco. I got prosciutto at Costco and I got some pork belly and I put the prosciutto in the oven and baked it. Oh my gosh, it was so crunchy, salty. So that's what I sometimes miss. So I did have a little palate fatigue about a year ago.
Okay.
And I couldn't eat another ribeye or hamburger patty for a couple of days. It didn't last long. And then I did chicken wings and I did some bacon and prosciutto. And then I'm better again. You just sometimes have to have a little variety.
Yes, no, I believe variety is very important. It is very important. And yeah, for dinner, it's usually ribeyes. However, I'm having that too, to the point where ribeye for me has been more meat and I want more fat.
So you eat the fat on it. I just have a hard, I chew it and chew it. I feel like it's not going anywhere. Do you actually swallow it?
Yes, I love it. I think the fat's my favorite part. Okay. And my mom doesn't like it either. She's like, I can't even swallow it. I can chew it, but I can't swallow it. I love it. I'm like, how can you not? But everyone's different. I love it. I do eat the fat. So now I'm doing, it's either ribeye or picanha every night.
Yeah.
I like carnivore hamburger, get 2 patties, 3 eggs, get some bacon, and just munch on that. It's delicious.
Isn't that
pork
good?
Belly, lots of pork belly. Yeah, there's a lot
How
of
do
things.
You cook your pork belly then?
We usually put it in the oven just to get it to cook a little bit. And then I get it in the pan and just let it cook. Or also in the air fryer. It's faster. If I want something faster, I put it in the air fryer. It makes a bit of a mess in the air fryer to clean after, but it's the fastest and easiest way to do it. And it tastes great.
Now, are you doing organ meats at all?
I want to start incorporating it. A lot of people tell me about it. The raw liver. I want to. I'm scared, but they say it doesn't taste that bad. It just depends. I do want to start incorporating. Have you had it?
I do actually, the capsules, or I ask my butcher. I have a local butcher that has local grass-fed, or sometimes they're grain finished meats. And I ask them to grind it up in the ground beef. But I think it's Liver King and some others that will get the liver, they freeze it, they slice it, and they eat it. Or they get, are y'all sitting down? They get tongue.
They get everything.
And they say it's delicious.
Yeah,
I haven't pulled the trigger on that yet, but someone needs to blindfold me and just say, here, have a piece and eat it. I don't like I've never liked liver's it's the only food I don't like anyway. So that's why I use it in the capsules.
Have you had chicken heart?
No, my husband likes chicken liver. So is chicken heart similar to that?
I grew up, I figured the Brazilian daughter-in-law may be
no, she hadn't said anything.
It's kind of growing up where they do the meat kebabs, right? Espetinhos, maybe.
Yes.
They would do chicken hearts. And as a child, I would love them. They have to be grilled, I think. That's the best way, the Brazilian style. And then I kind of went off of it when I started going, veganism, stop eating meat at all costs. But now I'm like, oh, little Victoria was right. She liked those chicken hearts.
Yeah.
I think it's just a nice variety, just treat, since we're talking about, all the
sounds
different...
good. Well, you're a great guest. This is a great story from veganism to carnivore, and you're 24. I mean, a 23. Sensible girl. 23. Well, I'm sorry, my old age.
It's okay.
Tell me, what do you do for a living?
I'm a student.
Oh, good.
Going to law school, yes.
Mm-hmm. You are?
Yeah. I think I'm in the wrong career field, but we'll see.
Everyone can use a law degree is a good thing to have.
It is.
It's just a good thing to have. It makes you very hireable. That's my career advice for today. Hey, keep eating beef. You're doing a great job.
You're a nutritionist coach.
I'm a health coach. Yeah, certified health coach.
Oh, okay. I've always thought about it as well. Do like a carnivore coach thing, get into that. I've done a few nutrition courses. Yep.
Yes, you should. And Steak and Butter Gal, she has a carnivore community that does a lot of that. There's Dr. Rimka, who's in Atlanta, one of my favorite guests I've ever had. She's a chiropractor who first told me about carnivore, and then the guy from Brian Sanders from Food Lies, at Food Lies. He's got a film series he's about to drop about how we've been lied to about our foods. And he's the one that told me that the farting cows is only 3%. And he used that term of, the greenhouse gases. But just stay with your community, stay true to yourself, and it's all going to work out. I'm very proud of you. Good job today.
Thank you so much. I've had a lot of fun doing this.
Thanks for listening to the Lisa Fisher Said podcast. Be sure to hit subscribe and download all the episodes and leave a review, won't you? The Lisa Fisher Said podcast is produced by ClantonCreative.com.